Alrighty, so it's back to Jigger, and as you can see, whoo-wee, I am hot as a motherfucker. It's like, okay, I'll tell you what it's like. If you can imagine a sauna, you know, in a, what you call it, a gymnasium, you know. Okay, so there you are, happy in fucking England, slaving away, being a fucking slave to a bunch of fucking Nazis. Yes, that's right, Saxa, Cobalt, Gotha, the Queen Mother, Nazis, pure Aryan Nazis, okay, who funded Hitler and have killed multi-millions, if not billions of people around the world. Yeah, while you're enjoying your bullshit crap over in fucking UK, yeah, and thinking you're fucking special, and you got your fucking hair cut in a certain way, and oh, look at me, I went to fucking university, you know what I mean? Look at me, I'm fucking, I've got this magazine, and I've got a fucking GoPro camera, and fucking this, that, and the other. Anyway, while you're doing all that, you bunch of fucking morons, and the Nazis are there, and fucking Satan is coming into this fucking world on the fucking September, you know what I mean? 28th, call it 28th, when CERN opens up the gate and opens the veil, and every single living entity on Earth comes under the rule of the fucking devil himself, the Antichrist, or whatever you want to class it as, you know what I mean? You know, hopefully there's some comebacks from that, you know what I mean? Hopefully, you know, we can get through it, but I just wanted to show you, this is where I was. So when I took that video footage earlier on, okay, coming round. Now what I was trying to say was, in a gymnasium you've got saunas, and the heat radiating off this ground is literally, I'm in a sauna, and I'm trying to run in a sauna, and that's what it's like. I go in a jungle and it's not as bad as this. This is hard because you've got open sun. I mean, we can't see any chemical trails, but normally they're spraying chemical trails, even here in Southeast Asia, Borneo. But it's not a bad day. There's a bit of cloud here, but that sun is banging down, and it's hot. It's hot. It's harder. The old saying, it's harder than a big bag of hard things. You know what I mean? I've done some things in the army which they say is hard. I've done a diving course which they say is pretty hard, mate. But that, or this, by far is the hardest thing I've done, and that's fact. Yeah, well, some of you might know that. It goes back to All Arms P Company video many years ago, back in the 80s, or 90s, or whatever. But yeah, so here we are. This is oil palm plantation, and this is great for training. It's hard going, but it gets you fit, and that's what's needed. Because if I'm going to survive, even if it's a few hours, or even if it's like one more day, when I'm being chased down by whatever's being, you know, going at me, hammer and tong, hopefully I can hide out and I can put the right prayers out, and I'm protected in certain ways. But I think it's a month, or something like a month, where the scorpions come out of the veil, and there are some of us that will, I think they say something like, men will wish to die, but they won't. Yeah, they will wish they were dead, and they go through something like a month, and I can understand the horror that that we may soon face, all of us. But I know that in any situation, mind, body and spirit is key, you know. And I'm not talking about religions here, I'm not talking about this, that and the other. I'm simply talking about the universal effect. I mean, I'm here in the third dimension. I don't know what to think. In a lot of ways, I have no idea. But I know what I'm told is, when it comes down to Jesus Christ, you know, he put it all up for everyone. He's not talking about other religions, he's talking about everybody. And if he really is the Son of God, and basically God is the biggest element, so it doesn't matter how universal we get, you know, it's God is God, the God element, you know what I mean? So whether it's male or female, anthropomorphize it, not, you know, whichever. The point being is, what will be will be. I mean, I don't know. I'm in an oil plantation furnace at this moment in time in a third world country, Borneo, Southeast Asia. And all I know is some bad shit's going to happen. It's going to come down. It's already coming down. You know, America is just, it's gone. And people don't realise it. And I try and, as I always have done, try to help people, and you just don't listen. And it will be too late. And in the end, I can't help them. So if people are naive and don't want to help themselves, and if they're not prepared physically and mentally and spiritually, then there's nothing I can do. I got to look after number one. And I can only try and help those that may walk with me, or, you know, I can walk with them. But it's doubtful. It's doubtful. I know human beings very well. I know human beings very well, and I know the only person I can rely on, and that includes friends and family. Every friend I know, there's not one I can rely on, and family, can't rely on them either, because people are blind, people have been hypnotised, people have been brainwashed, people are dumb, people brush their teeth with sodium fluoride, people have got electromagnetic impulses go running through their brain. They've got genetically modified foods. They're brushing their teeth with sodium fluoride. And what to do? What can you do? What can you do to people that are basically the zombie apocalypse? It's the zombie apocalypse. And I think it was Carl Jung or Carl Gustav or something like that, one of those chaps. It says something like that. The individual has always had to struggle against the might of the majority, or something along those lines, you know. And if that means, and I've written my books, my journals, in my journals, not that anybody will read it now, you know what I mean, not as long as I know it's in my head and it's out there in the collective mind, and the God element knows that I went through what I went through. But I always knew I'd find myself on my own in the middle of nowhere, and I'll die alone. But hopefully there'll be someone ready to meet me the other side, you know. Possibly. Yeah, I hope so. Because I'm not here to do anybody wrong. I know how twisted and fucked up this world is. I'm far from perfect. But apparently, you know, as they say, Jesus died for our sins. And so if we give ourselves to Jesus Christ, then, you know, he will save our soul, as it were. And, you know, I spent 40 years in and around a form of hell, and that's what Earth is a form of hell. Now, I know we volunteered to be here. That's what I figure out is, you know, apparently as soul beings we volunteered to be here, and so we're here to do something. Yeah? And that needs to be taken into consideration. It needs to be taken into consideration. So, whatever it is I've been asked to do, or the tasking I've been sent, hopefully I'll carry it out. But instead of sitting there with my thumb up my arse, looking at a load of bullshit and denying what's really going on in this world. I mean, this world is going to be taken over by demons. Pure, unadulterated, psychopathic, the most evil demons you could ever imagine, and it's going to come a reality. And how does one prep up for that? You know, how do you prep up for that? And it comes down to that essence of an element of faith. Having faith. And I can't have faith in humankind, not mankind, because I don't have any faith in mankind. I have a bit, but it's out of 95%, out of a percentage, probably 5% of mankind, because I know that the majority of mankind is living in a bubble, in a falsity, in a non-reality. And that's what this is, this matrix, this holographic reality in which we live in. Through our thought process, we produce, we We produce this reality for ourselves. And if the majority of the human mind is twisted and fucked, screwed, then what we project out as a collective mind, working with the essence of energy and dark matter and all that sort of business, then if there's a higher percentage of that being negative, then there's going to be negative that trespasses into the world. Now, there's always going to be good and bad in any situation. That's the yin and yang. But it's balance. And it's balance that's key. Balance in all areas. Everything. Balance. Do we see a balance here? We cut and we put oil palm in. But where's the rest of the jungle? It's all been cut, even up there. You know, that's left alone now. But that's been cut. There's no jungle here. There's no primary jungle here. It's secondary at best. You know? And then when we've got oil palm, this is here to make profit for those that do satanic rituals. You know? And bring in that capacity to bring in, you know, the devil himself, herself, whatever, the devil element, Lucifer. You know, I've probably sat there at times with Lucifer or the devil, maybe even the Antichrist. Maybe I've sat there with the Antichrist, you know, and I sat there and I had a conversation and I've gone, well, look, you know, this is just the way I see things, you know. I'm not here to step on your toes as such, you know. I'm the essence of balance. I'm neither here nor there, but I have reservations about certain things. And in the end, it's about you personally, isn't it, making a choice. And I think that's key when we look at... Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's move. It's just getting boring. So I'll walk. You can hear the thunder, huh? Okay, so what am I saying? I'm saying, basically, we're given a universal code. It's really very simple, you know, that universal code is the essence of free will. Free will. So it's about choice. It's about making a choice in everything that you do. Now, if you have a choice, if you're given a choice, that means that you can go left, you can go right, you can forwards, go backwards. You know, you've got the opposite, equal opposites, yeah? So the point being is, if you work along the rules that were set out, as in certain honourable rules, then in the end, it doesn't actually all have to turn out negative. It doesn't have to be polarised, as in a really bad way, hell, or a really negative way, hell. Or, yeah, sorry, a really positive way. So, positive, negative. You get me, heaven and hell. In the end, you can just slip out of this reality. You know, here I am breathing, my body's pumping away, this biological organism that I am, utilising my mind, which is a biological interface to be able to work with the universe. Like these towers here. These towers, they broadcast. And they probably receive as well. And just like me, I broadcast and I receive information, but on a big perspective, on everything. The universal element. Okay, so we're talking about... What are we talking about? We're talking about the microcosm and macrocosm. You know, and I'm a receiver and transmitter. And I've got to take responsibility to what I also transmit as well. So that's taking responsibility. And then I've got to take into consideration with taking responsibility the essence of free will. You know? If I care not to care, then there's going to be consequence to that. But if I work it on a balanced scale, a level scale, yeah, then, you know, the essence of cause and effect and karma and this, that and the other, I can run down this path here now and there'll be a bug, you know, going across the road, mind its own business, going across the road, and I can choose to step on that bug, crush it, crush the life out of it, gone, habis, you know? Or I can choose to just walk over it, or run over it, and just say, hey guys, you know, hello mate, you go about your business, I'll go about my business, you know? And if you do that in life, if you carry that essence within life, then what have you got? You've got the essence of balance. All things have a capacity to work in conjunction together as long as you take away that ego factor, that bully factor. And I've seen that for 40 fucking years I've been on this earth, and all I've seen is the fucking bully factor and the fear factor coming as well, because people fear the bullies. They fear them, and they've got no strength to counteract the bully. That's why I joined the fucking military, and I learned how to smash people's fucking faces in, you know what I mean, and generally be a really nasty cunt, you know, like really fucking nasty. Because if a bully was going to come up to me and try and bully me, and it gets to that certain point, now again, free will, I'm not going to impose it onto them. I say him, her, whoever it may be, that entity, I'm going to turn around and say, well, back off, because at the end of the day, you're stepping over the mark. Once they step over the mark, then you're talking about terminate with extreme prejudice. And, you know, like break the skin on their face, rip the fucking throat out, take the fucking eyes out, you know, break the arms, put them through fucking hell, and they'll never fucking hurt you again. That's why I was a nasty cunt. No one used to fuck with me, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I've got to have a balanced element to that. That's a disciplined application of extreme violence. And if you don't have mind, body and spirit balanced, then that discipline may falter, and I may become perverted in what I do, and suddenly I like hurting someone, you know? I like it. And I've been there. Yeah, that psychopathic, sadistic element has been about me, you know? And I admit that, I fully admit that. But I got a hold of it, you know? You've got to get a hold of things. You can't let things get the better of you. So you've got to learn the balance, and that's part of what we've got to do in life. If you don't learn, it overrides and takes hold and grabs hold, and in some ways that's like possession, you know? You allow something to take possession of you, and then you're not you anymore, are you? You're something else. You're a vessel for some other negative element coming in from outside imposition. And what happens then is, you know, you're not in control. You're out of control. And what's the key? Yeah, it's taking responsibility. So for all our actions, we've got to take responsibility, and we've got to repeat or keep in mind that essence of free will. You know, I'm here. I mean, look at that. That's a pretty good view. That's a pretty nice view. There's dragonflies here. You know, I could be in friggin' Nazi England. You know, and I say Nazi England because England is run by Nazis. Pure, unadulterated. Possibly, well, human beings, possibly non-human entities that have ruled over mankind for however long it's been. And I tell you what, I'd rather be here. And if I have to sacrifice never seeing my family or anybody I've ever known again, to even spend a little bit of time in a place where you've got greenery and the clouds and the earth, and it's pretty peaceful here. It's not a lot of noise apart from what I'm banging out. You know, you can turn off if you want, that's not a problem. But what I'm trying to say is, I'd rather be here as close to nature as possible and to the God element, even though I'm in a oil palm plantation, than I would be in Nazi England, you know, with a bunch of Satanists, whether they want to admit it or not. You know, I mean, it's not that I've got necessarily anything against Satanists, or maybe I have, I don't know. But, you know, the old saying is, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. You respect what I do. Yeah, you give me the space and I'll give you space. You know? That's not. Is that out of line for me to ask that? Is it? I don't think so. Hang on, just let me film there. Yeah, you're gonna have water down there, and there's those elements there. So I'll keep that in my mind. Yeah. So what am I saying? I'm saying what to do. Respect. Is there any respect nowadays? Is there any loyalty? Do people care for each other anymore? They don't. This element of I phone, I this, I that. There is a force, something in the world, in the universe. Let's call it this world. I haven't been out to the rest of the universe. Not yet. Maybe one day I'll get a chance to do that. I would like to think so, you know. That yeah, I don't just experience this third dimensional reality, although that's fine. But there's got to be something more, or there is something more. But while I'm here, I'm saying that there is a force that has something over us. You know, has something over us. There's something we've got to take into consideration, and that is the God element. You know, the God element doesn't dick around. People think that what's going on in the world is a game. They don't realise how real it is. I mean, it's unadulterated, pure reality. I've been to war zones. I've seen horrific stuff done to fellow brothers and sisters, human beings. Sickening. Absolutely sickening. And people think that they can hide from it, and they can't. It affects everybody. Everybody. Everybody is affected by everybody else's actions. And that's why balance is key. But how can you balance out those that you can't balance out? I'd love to be able to go and speak to everybody in the world. Sit down with them at a bar, you know, have a couple of beers if that's their thing. Just sit with them and just allow me to talk and explain it from my point of view. And maybe they might go, okay, that's a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair one. You know, give it a go. Even if you are a Satanist. You know, even if you are into, you know, babies. When I talk about babies, I'm talking about the death of babies and making money off them so you can drive around in a Lamborghini or whatever. You know, it's that's unbalanced. I think it's unbalanced. They call me unbalanced. That's why I haven't gone back to UK. I was in Australia. And they said I was unbalanced in Australia, you know. Yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder and this, that. You know where that comes from? It's not doing a job. You know, explosion goes off or gunfire. I mean, that's what you train for. It's coming back and having to deal with a bunch of fucking people that don't see the reality anymore. Don't realise what it's all about. And when I say what it's all about is, it's real. Once you've gone to a place where there's combat involved, where there's conflict, you go through the mirror. There's no coming back from that. And it puts a whole different perspective on it. And it's perspective that's key. You know, if your reality is watching friggin' Platoon, you know what I mean? And that's your idea of combat, you know, people realise that the Vietnam vets, you know, had a problem, but what about everybody else? It's going back to a non-reality. It's going back to a falsity, and that's what the majority of society is built up on, especially Western society is built on falsity and garnish and bullshit. And once you've gone past those stages and you go through one mirror after another mirror, it just gets, there's no coming back. And so you find yourself in the middle of an oil plantation, in Borneo, on your own, talking to yourself. Talking to yourself, going, realising that basically we may have the end of civilization. I say civilization, mankind. The very veil may be lifted off what we class as reality within the third dimensional reality. The microcosm and macrocosm. The veil may come off and suddenly we see the end days, the destruction, the end time. How does one live with that? Well, that's a good question. How does one live with that? I guess one lives with that by keeping as much balanced mind as possible. In a world that doesn't look crazy here, does it? But I tell you what, one of these days I'll probably come back here and this whole entire country will just be crazy. It'll be like friggin' Mad Max. And you'll have Muslims trying to kill Christians, and Christians trying to kill Muslims, and the Nazis, and then we'll have the implementation. We may even have demons running around. We may have fucking dragons and fucking all kinds of different beings running around the bush, eh? That'd be pretty freaky. This whole place might be flooded. Everything's gone, you know? Everybody's gone. Everything. I don't know. I'd hate to see that. But well, what I'm seeing, and what I'm being told, and the information I'm getting from my intelligence, is it's here. It's end days. And when CERN opens up that portal on the 28th, yeah, anything can happen. Anything can come through, and they can send anything through. Different dimensions. And that's what they were talking about. I think it was in the Bible. They were talking about when CERN, or that essence, that gateway is opened. That's when we see the veil rise, and we see the essence of what comes from the earth upwards into this reality. And then, as human beings, third dimensional creatures, we got to deal with friggin' Michael Jackson giving it, you know what I mean? Giving it that. How do you deal with that? I don't know. What was it? Hard Times by Charles Dickens, I think it was. You know what I mean? Maybe I should read that again. So, we can see there, we got the mountains, and actually you've got the mountain itself. This is the highest point in Asia. Mount Kinabalu is over there. But these are the mountains that jut off it. And it's a beautiful land, it's a beautiful world. But I don't know whether it's going to be here for long. Whether I or any others are going to be surviving it. I hope so. But we can only see. Anyway, I'm going to try and put some positivity out there. My thoughts. In the meantime, I'm going to try and get fit. As fit as I can. And if I can survive 30 seconds, 1 minute more, because I put this